This is John Abrams, and this is the Variety Artist, episode 44. I have a confession to make. I'm that guy. I've been making my living entertaining for about 20 years now, and I've done it in multiple markets with multiple shows. But I did it without professional photos. I used mock-ups and newspaper articles, cell phone shots, and even taken snapshots from video. Well, it's time to up my game. After listening to this interview and seeing how other entertainers present themselves, I realized the importance of professional promo shots, and that I probably left a ton of money on the table. Well, I'm ready, dang it. Let's up our game. Let's make that money and present ourselves as the pros we are.
Welcome to The Variety Artist, providing aspiring artists and entertainers with in-depth discussions from top performers from all over the world. So get ready to book some gigs, make some money, and have some fun with your host, John Abrams.
Not only are they amazing entertainers, but they're the best photography team in the biz. I looked at michaelmessingphotography.com, noticed that there are 23,682 photos. Most are promo shots from entertainers that you know. Heck, a lot of them been on this podcast. Variety Artists, I give you Michael Messing and Tom Vorjohan.
I'm so glad you say that name right.
Who is who? And who does what?
Michael pushes a button. I do everything else.
Well, when it comes to our photography,
yes,
I am the technical person. I am the photographer. I'm the one who owns all the equipment. I'm the one who does all the setup, all the teardown, all the editing of photos, and all the arrangements. Tom shows up, makes a few suggestions on how poses, makes us laugh, and then goes home.
Michael pushes the button. I do everything else.
It sounds like, Michael, you're taking all the credit for doing all the hard work.
Yes, that's exactly what he does every time we set up. I just sit back, watch him set up, and I hear about it the whole time.
As I like to remind him on a regular basis, I can do these without him. He cannot do this without me.
The photos just wouldn't look near as good without me.
Yeah, well, since you'd be using your phone, yeah, I would agree.
A phone camera?
I think we should just stop this dang thing right now. You're going to split this partnership up. Damn you, John.
It took like 1 minute.
And we're in. And interview over.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I'm kind of excited. I didn't even know I could hook up my Bluetooth headphones to my computer. So it's a great day.
And now we're good. Now we're going to talk a ton about photography, but a lot of folks don't even know that both of you are entertainers. So let's start with Michael. What kind of entertainment do you do?
These days, I'm primarily a children's and family performer. I do everything from fairs and festivals, libraries, and birthday parties.
Mm-hmm.
In my old days, back in the early 90s, I worked on cruise ships doing an illusion show.
Oh, illusion show. So a magician.
Yep.
And so now do you do a smaller show for the birthday parties? Is that the idea?
Now it's a one-trip show and about a 20-minute setup rather than 2 hours.
Now, Tom, how about you?
My focus has always been on making people laugh and having fun. So my show is targeted a lot towards families, especially in this area in East Tennessee. I do a lot of close-up, work at 3 different restaurants doing magic, and then a lot of corporate banquets and dinners and things like that. So either strolling magic or stand-up comedy magic as well.
Do you find that when you do the restaurants, that's a good feeder for your corporates?
You know, it used to be. And I don't know if it's the area or what. I used to refer to it as a pipeline. If you go do the restaurants, people would just hire you. And occasionally I get interest of people that want to do parties and stuff. I don't do a lot of birthday parties anymore. I think I've done one in the last 3 years. But I'll do a lot of churches and a lot of groups and associations and those kind of things. So.
Now, I work at one of Tom's restaurants. There's one restaurant we kind of alternate at, although I'm there a lot of times more often than he. I have been surprised at how few leads have come from the restaurant. I mean, I've done probably this year 3 birthday parties that came from working at the restaurant, and I'm talking about, of course, 2018.
And I mean, in years past, Mike, I mean, I don't know if you agree, but I mean, it was 2-3 a month.
I wonder why that is. I wonder why that's slowing down.
My problem here is it's not like they see you and then go, wow, what are you doing in December for our company party? I just don't. I used to get that all the time, where they would make that connection, and that connection just isn't. It's not as prominent anymore.
Huh.
Well, and Tom moved here long after I had moved here, and so he can tell you how he was already a professional performer. I was a kid when I moved to Tennessee. This part of East Tennessee is not a great market. It is challenging. I have a very good friend of mine, John Riggs, who was also known as John St. Germain, who was from here and moved to Indiana, where Tom had moved from Indiana to here. His first year, John sent me a letter, said, you need to move here. People actually buy entertainment in this area.
I live in Orange County, which is right next to LA. I'm halfway booked up now for summer. Where is it? Where are we? January 15th?
That'd be nice.
There's just so much business here. There's a lot of entertainers, but there's so much business. There really is no competition.
I was all excited when I took the promotion I was working during the day with Alcoa, the aluminum company.
Yeah.
And I took the promotion to come down here, and I went, yeah, I want to go down there. They got Pigeon Forge right next door. Those people must love live entertainment.
Pigeon Forge is jamming right now, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's doing great. The reports of the fire from 2 years ago, it didn't hit the Strip. It didn't hit anything that had to do with the business and the tourism part, except for a few cabins and everything, which just made demand for the other cabins go up. Yeah, they are Las Vegas style, fantastic, high-end entertainment shows that are down here.
Before we get too far off track, let's talk about you guys' photography.
Yes.
How did you guys start working together?
Tom and I are very involved in the running of the Winter Carnival of Magic, a annual convention that takes place now in Pigeon Forge. This will be our 45th years coming up in March.
Goodness.
March 7th, 8th, and 9th, Pigeon Forge. www.wintercarnivalofmagic.com. Thanks, Mike. That was a good plug. Thanks.
Good plug. There you go. I started working with the Winter Carnival of Magic when I was 15 years old. I've been a part of 42 out of 45. One I missed because I was on a cruise ship. One I missed because I had a family engagement.
And so that we don't have to go through all 45 years. So Mike puts together our promotion and advertising.
And can I tell this story since it's my story?
No, I get to hear him complain incessantly about getting pictures in of professionals that are A, a decade and a half, if not more, old, and B, shot with a camera that looks like somebody, this is even back before we had all the cell phones that we did, but it looks like a cell phone picture. It looked like somebody snapped it on a snapshot. And man, every time we would hire acts, and out of the 15 acts that we would get, Mike's complaining about over half of them. And so he set up a studio in the back room of the theater one year, and he's back there taking Rich Block's photos. Now you want to pick up Mike so we didn't have to go through the other 40 years. Go ahead.
Okay, well, he did miss one thing. When I was complaining one day, he did say, nobody is doing this kind of thing anymore, like Ann White used to.
Right.
You should do it. And that's what started it.
Oh, okay.
So I set up at the Winter Carnival of Magic in the green room. I set up a studio in there, and I was taking photos of Rich Block. I had just started, and Tom walked in and said, you mind if I make a few suggestions? And I said, sure. And next thing I know, he was directing the entire shoot.
Oh.
That was almost 10 years ago.
And you guys are still going.
Yeah.
There's a real plus here. I can get people promotional photos working by myself, but it's a much slower process because I have to do all the technical things, setting up lighting, posing, coming up with the concept. So it's all being done by me. Whereas when it's with Tom primarily comes up with concepts just because that's the best division of work. As soon as I know what he's going for, I'm able to start moving lighting equipment around. By the time he's explained to our performer what we're going to do, my lights are ready, and we can go right into it. Plus, the banter you obviously hear going on between us is the way we do photo sessions. We've been accused of sounding like a married couple for a long time. And it makes it entertaining. It makes it move quickly. It gives you two sets of eyes to watch everything that's going on and catch little things. Tom, watch his lapel there. It's a little rolled. Hey, Mike, wait, you missed that. Hold on. And so we've got it working in a pair just really, really makes it that much better.
Yeah, first off, I got to tell you, John, you're the first person who's actually gone out and counted all those photos, because to my knowledge, there is no counter. So you had to go and count all 26,000 of those by
I think
hand.
on the website there is a counter. As much as I would like to say, yeah, I did go
I'm
through
going to tell you, I think it's 863. I think you missed one. But anyway.
As you might notice, we've had a couple of our customers say to us, Lee Andrews in particular, 15 minutes into his photo session, okay, I've already got my money's worth in entertainment.
See, you actually do the photography for free. It's the entertainment that you charge for.
There you go.
If you actually want to go out on that website and look up and see the worst photos that he's got, they're mine, because I can't direct him, and he gets madder than a wet cat, for God's sake, if I put up a mirror.
The problem is he doesn't let me direct either. He says, you don't tell me what to do, and I try to direct, and he goes his own way.
You are killing me. You're just killing me.
If I look on your website, who have you guys shot?
Well, in the big names, we've photographed Silly Billy, aka David Kay.
Yep.
Okay, stop right there, because I'm on the cover of Silly Billy's latest book.
Ah.
I'm whited out. I've been absolutely obliterated in Photoshop, but the dude holding those chickens on his shoulders, that's me.
Yeah, he honest to goodness, when the book came out, I said, hey, Silly Billy's new book is out, and I sent him a link to it, and he goes, cool, I'm on the cover of my first book. I'm like, you're not on the cover. We took the photo. He goes, yes, I was. I was behind him. Remember, you took me out. I said,
So look for Tom on the cover of Silly Billy in your book.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, you won't see me. You won't. Mike make sure to get rid of every single pixel. There is nothing left of Tom. Go ahead. So Silly Billy, we've done Danny Orleans and his wife, Jan Rose.
Ken Scott's a regular customer. We do him every year when he comes to Cadabra.
Yep.
We just did Buster Balloon out of California and his wife.
Yep. Any Banani.
We've also done a number of shoots with Mark Daniel. We did Steve Axtell last year at CAC.
Yeah, Mike got the best compliment ever from
John Kimmons.
From John. It was awesome.
He said that he's always dreaded going to get his photos taken, like going to a dentist. He said, but having photos taken by Tom and I was an absolute pleasure, with having both of us giving them ideas, working on stuff, keeping them entertained. He said he would look to have photos taken by us any opportunity could.
That's great. So on your website now it says, we're better than getting photos taken by the dentist.
I don't think it'll make any sense unless you've listened to this podcast.
All right, well, let's talk about what makes a good promo shot. We'll go piece by piece. How about costume? Does somebody bring their own costume, or how does that all work?
We do request that people bring their costumes and their favorite props if they must have a prop in a photo. And that's one of the pluses we have when we're able to drive to a convention. Like we're going to CAX next week. We have to fly, so we have some limitations there. But when we do conventions that we drive to, if somebody is flying in to attend and has a prop they want, since Tom and I are both full-time magicians and have a lot of access to other magicians, we got a lot of the same old junk everybody else has. So if somebody says, I need this, we can usually get it, so they don't have to pack it up and try to find a way to fly with it.
That was a long way to go to answer his question of, do we bring our own costume?
That's all right.
No, not really. I'm bored. I literally took a nap. I'm over here. I've got to get back up off the ground. Is now that he's done.
I have threatened to end this partnership on a number of occasions.
Yeah, today being one of them. Actually, two of them. We've made it another 14 minutes, Mike. Anyway, absolutely kills me.
You know, you'll also be shooting another famous guy, I guess, at CAX. His name is John Abrams, something like that.
I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Never heard of him.
All right, so I'm bringing my own costumes, and I'm doing a number of costume changes according to what package we get. What about background? What do you guys feel about the background?
I stick at conventions. I stick strictly with the white background for a couple of reasons. One, it is just the most versatile situation. A white background makes it pretty easy to drop the background out, which is pretty much a necessity when you're doing web work. If you want to put a photo over something, you have to have a transparent background. While green screen is great, it makes it a little more automated. Green screen's a little tricky because it can cast some green on the subject. We don't want green on the edges, and it's got to be lit just right. White is more forgiving and easier to work with.
And if you go look at like Mark Daniels' website, almost all of those pictures, in fact, I think most, except for the action shots, are all taken by Michael. He knows how to drop out the background and put in, whatever situation he wants. That's just the right thing to do. And at the same time, if you just want a white background shot and you use that as your promo photo, while everybody else sends in something on black or dark or Olin Mills, whatever they've got that week, your photo pops. Even if you just leave it on a white background, your photo pops compared to every other one that people are looking at.
There's nothing distracting you.
In the technical world of photography, what it does is it provides separation. I've told Tom over the last couple of years, I sometimes feel like people think I can only photograph against a white backdrop because that's what I do. But at a convention, it's impossible for me to carry 3 or 4 backdrops and change them in and out. And so I don't do that there.
Mike had a concept and wanted to show his ability to use other backgrounds. And we took a few photos of Jessica Jane, who's over in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, working during the summer. And so like the cover photo, I believe it was the June issue of the Lincoln Ring, that was Mike's photo of Jessica Jane on a white background. And you can see how we get to, I say it pops, Mike says separation. Anyway, he's just got a bigger thesaurus than I have. But anyway.
Was that the cover of Lincoln Ring?
Yeah.
Yes, the cover of Lincoln.
It's the one with her with a dove on the shoulder.
Right. Ironically, Pigeon Forge, dove,
We did a nostalgic piece. So Mike wanted to recreate a famous shot of Celeste Evans and had talked to Celeste's daughter, Ivana, and made sure everything was okay to be able to do that. We didn't want to offend anybody. And then basically we mocked up the same setting and everything and the angles of the shot and on a black background. And it's just stunning to see Jessica in that shot. And then we also did a couple shots of her with a microphone because she also sings during her act, picked up the wood grains of the floor and everything. So, I mean, we have the ability to do whatever people want. I mean, and that's when we do special shoots. People either fly in here to the studio in Knoxville and we can spend the day with people and make whatever you want happen.
Do you have any methods to bring out their personality and what they want to portray in their show?
This is where Michael usually says, I will beat the client. I've never been charged with beating a client. I want to just say that up front.
Okay, just for the record, I have never beat a client or threatened to.
Not yet.
I do supply our clients with a questionnaire, simple questionnaire, because we want to be prepared to bring out what it is they see themselves as, what their image of themselves is, what they want to project to their market. So we ask about what markets they play, what audiences, what their onstage personality character is.
But more times than not, John, after we get that questionnaire and Mike is setting up for the new client, the new shoot, I sit down and just start talking like we're doing now with the person, and I figure out whether they have a sense of humor, what they really do, who their clients are, whether we should do this or that. And so by the time Mike spends about 5 minutes, I've gotten enough icing on the cake. So I've seen what they want. I know whether they want a banner or they just need shots on a website or they'd like a nice picture for a business card or whatever. Then I try and take it to the next level. So that's what I bring to the game in this partnership is, besides comedic relief.
Got it.
I try and figure out where we're going to go. And frequently we'll have people go, oh, I looked on the website and I really like this picture you did. Well, thank you. That's his picture. Now let's create one for you.
That's right.
I mean, there's only so many ways you can hold a banner. So, I mean, if you're going to hold a sign, a message board up, we have come up with some rather creative ways. Those shots are very similar. If somebody wants to get just a basic shot holding a magic wand or something, okay, I get it. But then we take off from there. And then the client has the choice whether they want the little magic wand shot that they had taken or if they want to go where we took them. About 98% of the time, their expectations are blown away with what we can provide.
I'm sure. I love your shots.
Thank you.
Well, and one of the things I like to try to explain to people is, look, there are lots of people who can take great photos. But a great portrait artist doesn't know what a promotional photo is. And because they're not magicians or balloon artists, because Tom and I both do balloons as well, and have worked with ventriloquists, we know the variety entertainment world. A person doesn't have to come to us completely with their concepts in mind, which is what one of the problems they had when we were at one Capitol convention, and I noticed somebody standing behind us while we were taking photos because we were in a public area. And I asked her, I said, is there something I can help you with? She said, oh, no, I'm your client from tomorrow. I was just trying to make sure, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I want to be polite. She said, you guys aren't jerks. And I said, excuse me? And she said, well, I went to a photographer and he set up his lights. He got everything ready. And he looked at me and said, okay, do something. Well, that's because he's a portrait photographer. He doesn't know how to tell a balloon artist or a magician or a ventriloquist, we need this. We need you to have some action in your photo. We need to make it not a static photo, because that's the thing that kills us. We try to make sure you don't look like you're just posed for a portrait. It has to look like you're doing something and your energy is showing. It's a different genre and it's not a big market. So outside of probably Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, you probably aren't going to find too many photographers who've done much of it.
Well, and let me finish the compliment on that one. Not only did we shoot that lady that day, she's been back 3 more times.
Oh, so what do you guys think about like the difference between a headshot, just like shoulders up, and like full body?
Well, it depends on your use. I think you need a little of everything. Now, some people don't ever get a full-length shot. Full-length shots can be really helpful if you're going to be doing a banner, one of the pop-up banners. Those are very vertical items. Most people end up just throwing one photo on there or a couple, and if it's just a headshot, that doesn't fit the format very well. It's one of the reasons why we ask people how they want to use their photos.
Your photos really should enhance what you're doing. It's not about your ego. And when you stick a head on a thing like that, it becomes, hey, look at me. The concept should be, hey, look what I'm doing, or look what I can do, or look what you get to see. We kind of flush all that out as people are telling us about what they want. Your photo has to enhance what you're doing. And Michael has told me when he's not mad at me that it's a gift that I have, that I meet people and can figure out what's going to make them look good. And that's the name of the game, is how do I make you look good, so that Michael can capture it and we can get some excitement that's going to turn it into gigs. We even tease occasionally that we've taken pictures that are too good of several clients.
Oh, too good?
In more directly, he has said to me before, he's not as good as we made him look.
Gotcha. Well, those type of people, they get hired once.
Yeah. And just to go back to what Tom said, no, Tom's a creative genius.
I'm sure.
I find the whole thing fascinating because he's got an engineering background. And I know ways to turn the engineer on. I can get him into math real quick. He has this creativity. I actually call it a malady, quite frankly, the way he's born.
It's a blessing and a curse.
And it makes for a really good combination, because Tom will come up with a concept and he will want to do certain things. But I've got almost 40 years in photography, so I understand the rules of posing. So there are times where Tom will get somebody set up and I'll say, okay, everything, but let's just tweak this. And one of my favorite moments is when I do something like that and have Tom look at me and go, wow, that made a big change.
Oh, that worked good, Mike.
I get credit occasionally.
Yeah, it's rare.
And you were starting to ask about the banner. We're talking about those roll-up banners that go in the floor stand that are very popular in Magic.
They're to promote you during the show, during your live show.
Correct.
But John, we're trying to give you the names of people that people might recognize. And yeah, we've shot some great people. Michael is also the official photographer for the IBM, so he's shot hundreds of live shots of the who's who of Magic over the last, 8 or 10 years. The thing that we love doing is shooting the guy who has not used a photo before. Boy, oh boy, if one thing could come across as we talk about photos is everybody needs to have one. It's the thing that's going to set you apart, whether it's a good-looking website that's got a nice shot of you that's going to convey the message you want to convey, or it's on your business card, a flyer, a banner, whatever it is. I mean, that's the guy we love shooting. A lot of folks, they've never had photos before, or never had professional photos. So yeah, we love doing the pros as well as the guys coming up. After having worked with Michael as long as I have, I'm now a true advocate that a photo, and a good photo, a professional photo, is the best asset you can have.
I was interviewing Niels Dunker.
We've done Neil several times.
Yeah, he has a great social media photo. He has a lot of different photos. You guys did a lot of those?
When we encourage people to do exactly what Niels has done, he's got good promo photos. So how do you capture his energy, his talent, his diversity in a photo? You know, because Niels wants to get in front of me all the time and he wants to start juggling. I go, Niels, when you juggle, there's 2 balls in each of your hands and there's a ball up in the air. I go, not a great photo. I go, we can take 100 of them and it's still going to look the same thing and they're awkward. So I try to capture the essence of Niels and what he's about. And, you know, we've got a friendship. So this last photo session we did with him just a few months ago was, I think, great. We got some great photos. We dumped about 200 red Solo cups on the ground in front of him and stuff. And it's very funny. Niels does cup juggling, which he has brought back from a juggler from many years gone by. And he's revolutionized it. And now other people are trying to do it.
Yeah, he holds the world record in cup juggling.
Yep.
He's got like 7 of them, for crying out loud.
So did he come to you guys, or would somebody, well, you kind of answered this before, but we'll go more into detail of it. You have different packages. When someone buys a package, can they come to you and say, look, I need a social media cover, I need a shot for my website, I need I'm going to be doing a postcard, a business card, etc.?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the package is kind of a starting point, because our least expensive package is you get 2 finished photos. It doesn't mean we just take 2 poses. We take a bunch, and if people want more, well, they can purchase additional. We just don't want to box somebody in and say, I don't have anything less than 5 photos. So we give them a starting point. And to be honest with you, very often when people do a 2-shot session with us, they end up buying 1 or 2 more. That's the key. That we want people to be prepared to think before they come in, what do I need photos of? You know, what are they for? And if they can express it to us, it helps. So that way we don't forget to photograph something that, or we didn't know. Like, I've had people come up to me afterwards, and I think it's very telling now that at the last 3 conventions, I can't say the last 3 because we did CAX last year for the first time, but at Cadabra and coming up at CAX now, more than 50% of the people that we're taking photos of are repeat customers who have more ideas.
And the reason why Michael's touching on, in my estimation, the reason why is because that first time or another time or whatever, they kind of came not knowing what to expect. Now they're going, oh, these guys got it going on. I'm going to try and get them to capture this. I really want to have this shot. Robert Bax came to us at one of the conventions one time, and he said, I want this for a poster. Can you guys make this happen? And I looked at the photo and went, yeah, why can't I? He goes, no other photographer can seem to do it here in LA. And I showed it to Mike, and Mike goes, yeah. And so I posed him and got the angles right and everything. And Mike took the photo, and Robert uses it as a poster he hands out where he took an old vintage poster and superimposed his face into it. It's hysterical.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. It's great.
You get people starting to think creative with you, and they start being able to limit down exactly what they want. And they go, oh, well, let's focus on I do a bunch of holiday shows. Let's focus on my holiday shows this time when we get together. Okay. And so here it is, in the middle of June, and we're shooting Christmas photos.
Great idea.
And that's the fun of having us coming to the conventions. Because, like I said, if you want to come to Knoxville and spend a day with us, and even several hours that day or whatever, it's not like we offer a 2-photo package. I mean, that's silly. That's for the guy who's figured it out, gets serious, has heard this podcast, and goes, these are the guys that want to take our photo.
Yep.
If you see us at a convention and you go, okay, I'm curious now, let's do it. Well, that's perfect. And I can almost guarantee you'll be back. Jessica Jane being a primary example. She hated having her photo taken. told us that she didn't think she was photogenic and everything else. And Michael and I should sit there and go, yeah, you're photogenic. You're okay.
I was a little cocky with her when she came over after one of her shows in Pigeon Forge. So we did it in the evening at Cadabra, and she came in and she said, "I'm not photogenic." And I said, "Who told you that?" She said, "Everybody tells me I'm not photogenic." And I said, "Yeah, you just haven't been photographed by the right people."
There you go.
And within a few minutes, she was getting really excited when I was showing her what we were capturing.
She looks great.
Oh yeah, we've photographed her now 4 times, I think.
So anybody going to CAX, if you're listening to this and going to CAX, you get to hang out with Steve Axtell, get to hang out with Mark Daniel, myself, and get your photographs done by these guys.
Yep. And even if you don't want to have your photos done, you can come in and watch, because watching a sessions is a lot of fun.
You probably learn a lot that way too, huh?
Yep.
We should charge for spectators' fees.
In probably our second year of doing photos at Cadabra, we had 3 people throwing rubber chickens at Don Baggett to take a photo. This was done at the time we were still in the dealer room. Mark has since moved us into our own room so that we can work whenever we want and not disturb anyone else. We were in the dealer room, and we had a large crowd watching rubber chickens being thrown right in front of Don Baggett for a photo, which is one of the ones that I feature often.
Oh, that's a great shot.
Some of the photos I've talked about here, like the Jessica Jane photos and that, I'll post them up on your Facebook group so they can see what we were talking about.
And then someone can just visit my Facebook group. That'd be terrific.
Yeah, that's good.
One thing that I have done, and Tom wasn't able to make it with me, which I'd love to do more often, is I actually traveled to Florida to photograph Noah and Heather Wells. They wanted live show photos because Noah wanted better than just cell phone photos and snapshots people were giving him. What I actually did is I traveled down to Florida. I photographed 2 shows on a Monday. They were dark on Tuesday, so that Tuesday I set up a studio. We took studio photos of them on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I photographed 2 more shows of theirs. And so they got a complete package where they got both live performance photos and studio photos.
And it didn't even cost like a kidney or nothing. He's still okay. I'm walking around and everything.
I mean, it's pricier, but when you've got a show that's going year round like he does in a theater, it can be worth it to bring somebody in to do something like that.
I joke about the kidney, but we love making our fellow performers, especially the ones not in our market, we love making them look good. You are affordable. You're almost affordable to a fault, my friend. Before he grows a larger brain and starts increasing his prices, yes, take advantage of him for stuff like that. It is awesome to have him shoot those live photos. If you go out and look at the IBM site and you realize that all those photos were taken by Michael, I mean, he's captured some $1 million moments that are just unbelievable quality that he can capture. We can't set that up in a studio. There's no way to get that. And as I was trying to say before, you've got to have a good balance of promotional photos as well as action live performance photos, audience shots, everything else. And man, is it easy if Michael's at a venue that, if you're going to be working libraries and you've got 4 of them set up in the first couple days, have Michael follow you around and let him do that stuff. That's why he didn't need me. He says I couldn't be with him, but I can't pose you while you're doing your show.
It's a great idea.
And put that silk back in there and pull that out again. More to the left. More to the left.
Wait, stop your show. Do that again.
It's covering your face.
Do you guys have some sort of either a performer or photographer horror story for me?
One of our early photo shoots, we had a friend of ours, and I'll drop his name. Lance from Chattanooga wanted us to take his photos, and it was like trying to pose a steel rod. I've never seen anybody so stiff in my life. And he's got this beautiful assistant, and I don't know whether he got locked up. And the assistant's husband's there with us, and Lance is happily married as well. I mean, it wasn't like there was any kind of weird sexual tension or anything. Lance is just stiff while we're trying to pose him. So I tried to move him, and I'm expecting Gumby, and I'm getting like a cardboard box, and I'm going, finally started going and slapping him in the face just lightly. It was love time.
Wait, so you have beaten some of your clients?
It is
One
a love
time.
tap, John. It's a love tap. Let's make sure just it comes out that way, because God only knows. I can see the
All I
lawsuit.
know is that I have the video that her husband, his assistant's husband, was recording of it. And there are times where Tom would walk over to Lance, and Lance would flinch and said, "You're not going to hit me again, are you?"
He would cringe. He would cringe. He's cowering like his mother just brought in a switch from the field. But anyway.
On the other hand, 1 year later, he came up to tell me how great his photos were and how much they helped him that year.
We've had a couple people who have like one smile, and that's all they got.
Yeah.
They got one smile. Okay. We've had some folks that really have taken a little bit more time, and we're okay with that. You're just getting them to relax and be themselves, because if you're talking to them, they talk and act great. You stick them on those white panels in front of that white screen, and they lock up.
And I tell you, the other thing that can be hard, and this is one of the things that kind of frustrates Tom, is, all right, we photograph full-time pros, we photograph part-time pros, we photograph people who are just doing a handful of shows at this point. And sometimes the real struggle is when they don't know their character yet, know who they are. There have been a time or two where Tom said, wow, I had to develop his whole character for him. One of the reasons why, besides the fact that our photos are lively, fun, and unique about somebody, we're in a world where people are inundated with photos. We see cell phone photos all day long on Facebook and every type of social media. Cell phone photos look, if in their right light, they look pretty good on Facebook, but they don't look the same as a professional photo. So if all your promotional photos you're taking are being done with a cell phone and just kind of faking it by hanging a bedsheet or whatever behind you, the difference between that photo and a photo that's been professionally taken, professionally lit, and really worked on as far as pose and expression is night and day. And it is a big selling feature. People often don't understand, well, why do I need photos? I mean, I got photos all over the place. Well, there got to be photos that sell you, that tell the audience, when somebody sees a great photo of somebody with the right look and expression. Just in the last few days, one of our customers has posted his photo with an Axtel dragon, and he had a graphic artist put the water spraying out of the dragon onto his face.
Oh, right out of his nostrils.
Right. Yeah, we had planned on that. He told us what he wanted, and we went ahead and took that photo. And then he went to the artist, and it looks fantastic. Oh man! People are going to notice that photo.
Oh yeah, they're going to really notice it, because it was perfectly done. It's a great cartoonish, not like somebody just sketched it in with a pencil. A great cartoonish 3-dimensional water spray that's hitting his face. We worked at figuring out how far your head would go back if you really got sprayed with water, and we had to get the dragon's nostrils so they're pointing in the right direction and everything else. And man, Michael nailed it. It just looks fantastic. Kudos to him for being able to follow through with that and having that vision. So we love it when people come with visions, and we can make it work. If you don't have a clue what you want, we'll make you look good too. So that's kind of what we do. We've been doing it almost a decade. I really wish you hadn't pointed out it had been a decade, by the way, Michael.
A decade always sounds big.
Lord have mercy. If there's any photographers listening that need a creative consultant to work with them, a poser, a fluffer, would you have it to be said? I don't care. Just call me.
Yeah, he's been threatening to bail for years, but nobody's willing to put up with him.
All right, we're going to go to fan questions. You guys ready to answer some fan questions?
I didn't know we had fans already. This is so cool.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, my God, 10 years, and we have, I bet it's not more than 3 fans, but go ahead.
All right, Annie Benani, who we mentioned earlier, the balloon storyteller, one of the top balloon artists in the country, asks,
awesome balloons.
What's the best way to come up with photos that really show off your personality and make you stand out from the crowd, especially in a crowded market? We kind of talked about that a little bit.
Some performers are able to envision what they want. That's their forte. Like a lot of times when Ken Scott comes and gets photos taken by us, Ken knows what he has in mind, and he just needs us to flesh it out. and get it wrapped up, but he already knows what he's looking for. But for other performers, it doesn't come natural to them. So it takes somebody who can look at it the way Tom does. Honest to goodness, there have been times when Tom says, let's do this. And I just look at him and go, where on earth did that idea come from? Because I have no idea. His mind works differently than most.
Thanks, Mike. I'll take that as a compliment.
It is.
And with Annie, and I've told her before, she has a certain character and look that she already is working with. And as we were taking her photos, and Buster was there with her, it's not like I was flirting privately, the most beautiful eyes in the business.
She does.
And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Just fantastic eyes. I tried to highlight some of that even when we took the photos, just to highlight the sparkle in her eye. I couldn't have seen that on a piece of paper that they wrote in or told us ahead of time or anything. But part of it is trying to get to know the client, what they look like, how they move, everything else.
She probably doesn't even see that herself, right?
No, I mean, a lot of us don't. Finding those pieces about a person, that laugh of Mark Daniels, I don't think he necessarily cared for the photo that went on the cover of the Lincoln Ring with the spring snake coming out of that box. But all I did is got him to laugh one time while he was holding that box, and he's got such an elf-like laugh. I mean, it's just like having a pixie there with you, for crying out loud. I mean, even as he's gotten older, it still continues. And it is contagious. And so when I get Mark, I try to get him to crack up. And I tell Mike, I go, when you laugh, take a picture, just take a picture.
What I'm hearing is that sometimes, like in Annie Banani's example, she doesn't know she has beautiful eyes, but an outside party will see that. Tom, you'll see that and jump in and say, look, this is what I want to focus on.
It's hard for us to see ourselves the same way. Even in performing, I just went to a conference in Phoenix. One of the things we did was we each of us did some magic at a couple of children's shows. I worked at a school and did a segment, and when I got done, the primary comment from the other magicians was, "Well, the background was dark. That was not your fault because you didn't pick it. Your vest was purple, and the silk you were using in that trick were purple, and your change bag was blue.
Oh,
and you didn't have any contrast there. It's something I would have noticed in somebody else." But doing it myself, I never paid attention to it.
All right, we're going to move on to Owen Anderson, an amazing magician out of Canada, says, would be curious to know about any makeup tips for men for a shoot, things to have a makeup artist do or not do, and then the same question for women.
Well, Mike even had to kind of consider this and look some things up because we don't do a lot of makeup shots. We recommend having a freshly clean face. But Mike, you even say if you're going to do it, how many hours beforehand?
Well, with shaving, you want to do it at least a couple hours in advance because you don't want to have any red marks. Sometimes when people shave, they have some red marks on the skin. And that's the primary thing you're looking for in your makeup, especially with men, is just to have your skin very even. So like a base foundation and some powder to dry and avoid any shine. That's the primary thing you're going to want to do. Unlike theatrical makeup, you're not going to want to do eyeliner or anything like that for a male unless that's part of your normal character, if you wear makeup like that normally on stage where it's visible. For a woman coming to get her photos taken, again, it's just a nice, even base makeup, foundation, powder, and then whatever lipstick they normally would wear. Obviously they can get a little more theatrical because it's a little more people are more used to seeing women made up. But the biggest thing is just having that evenness and being careful, not if you're going to do makeup like that, put a foundation on, don't just do the face, because if you're wearing an open collar, your neck's going to be a different color than your face. So you have to actually go into the neck as well.
And what about hands?
I have had people who were serious about it, and they do hands. That's great when they do it, because again, the hands are not going to look the same. You want to make sure you want to use the same foundation on everything. Obviously, that's a little extra work to have do it all.
Brett Bolich, a terrific magician out of Southern California, says, and I'm not sure exactly what he means by this, but you guys will be able to fill me in. Ask them about photo rights.
Okay. Yeah, people get confused about photography. With the proliferation of cell phone cameras and everybody taking photos all the time, they don't understand that when you have your photos taken, the photographer owns the copyright to the photos unless it's specifically stated in the release form that he's transferring copyrights, and that's particularly rare. You usually charge a great deal more if you're going to transfer the copyright, which means the photographer has no right to use it for anything after that. Normally, when I take a photo session like these, I know these are for commercial purposes. What you're paying for is commercial usage rights, which means in my case, you can use it in any way, form, or fashion to promote your performing or you personally. It can't be sold to be used for a different purpose. The example I use is somebody says, oh, we're running a campaign for our refrigerators that has magic themed. And I saw this photo of you and we want to run a national advertising campaign with the photo. Can we have your photo? They got to get me back involved because those rights weren't part of what was purchased.
Mike wants a piece of the pie.
Yep, exactly.
I don't blame you.
There's a different charge for commercial use of that sort. It goes by how many people are going to be exposed to it, how long it's going to run. There's a lot more. It's a very different type of thing. Joe Romano, when he did his book, asked me about what rights they got because his attorney asked him when he was preparing the book, do you have the right to use that photo on the cover of your book? And Joe said, well, I didn't know I had to have rights to it. And so, yes, when you have your photos taken, it doesn't mean you now own the photo to use as you want. It depends on what rights are given to you with it. Got it.
Well, before I let you go, do you have a recommended book for me?
I'm over here reading one of my favorite books from an unknown author, Jesse Sheedlower, called The F Word, but I don't think that's really what you're talking about. Do you mean one that pertains to photographs?
Pertaining to either entertainment, photographs, whatever you choose.
Michael's only read the first half of the Bible. Do you have a photographer's Bible that you, we haven't put a book out yet. I still love the book Ann White did years ago. That's a great start to get you thinking about photographs. She had some great points in there that are still hold true to having professional photos. But Michael's the one that's well read. He keeps up on the tech.
I have what they call in photography GAS, which stands for Gear Acquisition Syndrome.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's got a name. And if there's a Gas Anonymous, let's get your butt into it. Okay.
I'm glad you clarified that.
In entertainment, if you want the most well-rounded book around, I started on the Amateur Magician's Handbook. I love that book. But I think the most well-rounded book is the Mark Wilson's Course in Magic, which got released as public, I think.
I'm a GOB guy. You can put Mark Wilson away. Go grab all 5 volumes of GOB.
Yep. If you're looking at business books, and this book's probably not even in print anymore, but a book that opened a lot of eyes, a lot for me in my eyes, was Secrets of Self-Employment by Sarah and Paul Edwards.
See, now that's interesting because mine was Wealth Without Risk by Joel Gibbons. Wealth Without Risk, that was an awesome book for getting started in business.
That shows both your personalities.
Doesn't it?
All right, guys, I'll let you go with that. Thanks for doing my show. That was fun.
Can't wait to meet you. I really can't. And we can't wait to take your photos. I can't tell you how much better your session's going to be because we did this.
I'm sure. In fact, one of the reasons that I didn't set up an appointment beforehand is that I wanted to talk to you guys, and I feel so much better already.
Clients that are getting photos with Mike, get in touch with him. Don't just wait till the day. Give him a call. He really has so little to do.
Well, how can someone get a hold of you guys to do a photo session, either at CAX or one of the conventions or maybe at one of their shows? How can someone get a hold of you guys?
You can give me a call if you want. My number is 865-384-1910. Mm-hmm. You can find me on Facebook, either Michael Messing individually, Michael Messing Magic, or Michael Messing Photography. I'm on all 3 options. I'll give you the simple email. That's MD as in David Messing @gmail.com.
Okay.
I didn't even know that email existed or the phone numbers. You're just speed dial number 4. I couldn't have told you what your phone number was if life depended on it.
Yeah. And you don't want to really contact Tom because he'll make you laugh, but he doesn't arrange it.
Yeah, I don't want to hear from you until I know you're going to do something anyhow.
That sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, John.
And thanks to all my variety artists. If you found this podcast valuable, tell a friend, share it on your social media. Go on your phone and leave us a rate and review. 5 stars are awesome. And you can get a hold of me at John, John, at thevarietyartist.com. Now go out and make some money, get those gigs, and have some fun.
That's all for this episode of The Variety Artist, but your journey continues on our website. Go to thevarietyartist.com for more strategies, insight, and resources, as well as show notes on today's guest to assist you in your career. We'll see you on the next episode of The Variety Artist. But until then, go out and book those gigs, make some money, and have some fun.